The president of the UC system is a Zionist Jew, and he supports the apartheid state of Israel.
Brick by brick, wall by wall, Israeli apartheid has to fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, Israeli apartheid has to
When I hear that Israel is an apartheid state, when people make that accusation, depending on the mood that I'm in on the day, I either pack out laughing or I get really, really angry because it's an absolute lie.
Right now, if you say Israel is an apartheid state, I won't believe you because I've been to Israel and it was awesome. We're South Africans, so we know what apartheid is.
You know, I was born under apartheid. I grew up and lived under apartheid. So when people talk about apartheid, they can't tell me things I do not know. I've been to Israel almost about 14 times, and I've checked Israel from all corners. I've looked at what's happening in the legislature, in the Knesset. I've looked at what's happening in the streets, and I've concluded that what happened in the South Africa that was under the apartheid government does not exist in Israel.
When people say Israel is an apartheid state, I don't understand what they're talking about, because I've lived in apartheid. I understand those laws that were reinforced. I saw practical.
I've been a member of parliament, the South African parliament, for the last 21 years. During apartheid in South Africa, you could never have black people in the parliament. Black people were not even allowed to vote. You go to Israel, you find members of the Knesset who are Arabs and Muslims, members of the Knesset who speak against their own government. In South Africa during apartheid, when black people spoke against their government, they were charged for treason.
We couldn't go to the same schools. We couldn't use the same hospitals. In Israel, you have Arabs lying in hospital next to a Jew. In Israel, you have people mingling on the streets, sitting on the same benches. In South Africa, you had signs. Whites only sit here. Whites only drink from this fountain.
Israel doesn't say that because you are not Jewish, you can't go to the beach. Israel doesn't say because you're non-Jewish, you can't go and watch a movie. When we had an apartheid state, when we were in apartheid, that's what they said. You couldn't interact, you couldn't watch movies, you couldn't go to the beach, you couldn't shop in a big supermarket if you were black during apartheid.
I've been to Israel 4 times, and I can say from my experience that what the media depicts about Israel is not true. It's not real. You know, the hostility that is said about the people of Israel is not there. You know, if anything, they're very warm, friendly, loving people.
Israel was awesome. Everything about it, from the people, the food, the place, the atmosphere there. It's beautiful. Before I went to Israel, I was expecting what I always see in the media. I was expecting to see a lot of shootings, bombings, and yeah, a lot of conflict. But when I went there, I actually saw the opposite. There was so much peace. You go into the Tel Aviv and you see so many young people actually having fun.
There's a lot of sentiment and business acumen that comes from Israel for me, which kind of tells me that there's something really important happening there.
As a black person, to actually find out the truth is to be like, you're taking something so painful for black South Africans and mispresenting it for either publicity, for directed hate, and then repackaging it and saying it's apartheid. Not cool.
If the BDS and everybody else that's on their side was trying to actually accomplish something that was going to give hope, that was going to give life, that was going to encourage peace, you know, maybe let's have a conversation on that. But how dare you take that and use it to incite violence and use it to incite and encourage the destruction of a people just because you don't like them? It's disgusting. And the world needs to recognize that you are not only doing an injustice to the people that are in the Middle East, you are making what our parents went through, you're making the struggle a mockery.
When you look at what was happening in a lot of Arabian countries in terms of black people, we find them being oppressed. And nobody's paying attention to that or bringing that to light. And that brings to me or says to me that there's bias reporting.
Don't take what you're being fed. Don't take what you read in newspapers. Don't take what you read or what you see on news, rather. Go there and educate yourself. Open a book, a history book. Open a current book. Open anything that actually speaks truth. I got an opportunity to actually go to Israel and seek truth for myself, if I can say that. And it was mind-boggling to see just the misconceptions and just how it doesn't add up to what we see on TV.
To my brothers and sisters, specifically in South Africa and specifically like me that are black, this war is real. It's a war for our history. It's a war for another nation's survival. There was once a time when people didn't want us to exist, when they didn't believe that we had a right to anything. And if we really want to do justice to our legacy, to do justice to the challenges that we were able to overcome, then we'll not only want to stand in solidarity with Israel and with the truth, but frankly with any nation that's under threat across the world.
The one thing I always advise guys is wisdom is free. And that's what, for me, Israel kind of represents, is that wisdom, is that ancient wisdom where you can really plug into a system that works. So if you ask me, why Israel? I'd say, why not Israel?
We need to look at this as it is and not be told a lie that's not there.